I've come to the realization that I don't think I can be ever be a true progressive ever. Um, and the reason why that I realize I can never be a true progressive is because the women who are in this space, especially, and those who are in the rainbow community, are never going to acknowledge the part that they play in how they have pushed men away from the space and how they expect, especially straight men, to bend over and kiss their ass in order to be able to exist in their space. I can tell you, me personally, I have done this way too much in my life, and I will never do it ever. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm tired. Like I'm personally am sick of it, and you know, I'm going to get into why I know that I can't ever be in the progressive space because this clip that I'm going to play is going to be I forget the chick's name, but it'll be on the on I'll be sure to play a link, okay? And for those of you who want to listen to it, you can, in order to get more context. But I'm just going to show y'all why, even if we are temporarily um, in agreement, or rather, our issues may align because of what's going on with the Trump administration. After this, the issues are going to continue. And for the women who are listening to me, I can confidently tell you this: shit is only going to get rougher for you, because you refuse to sit here and acknowledge the harm that you yourselves have caused men, and that you yourselves have pushed these very same men to vote for someone that you ultimately don't agree with. But I mean, that's enough, I guess, of a preamble of an introduction. Let's just get into what this woman has to say. Okay,
One of the most important things to
y'all heard
understand
that.
about Trump's support is
And I'm going to be
this.
sure to
Many
leave
of his
the
voters
link
were
in the
not the poorest
description.
Americans.
I'm
They
leaving
were
that to
people
the
whose
Tom
relative
Briggs video
status
if
in
you want to
life
listen to the whole
declined.
thing.
And that sense of status
Um,
loss shows up very clearly in this space when it
I,
comes to
I I
gender.
had to
For
stop when I
generations in
got
the
to
US,
that
masculinity was
particular
tied to a
part
very specific role,
because
being the provider. A man was expected to work hard, earn
I
money,
can
and support a
guarantee you
family.
that
The
most
role came with
conservative
social
men,
respect, authority in the household, and a
if you
clear
were to
sense of
press them
purpose. You didn't need to be
and say, hey,
wealthy, you just needed to be dependable. And as long as that role existed,
would you
many
sit
men
here and
felt
say
like
that
they knew where
you
they
expect
stood.
your
But over
daughter
the last few
to just
decades,
stay at
that
home
foundation has
and not do
weakened.
anything,
Jobs that
not
once
educate
made that
herself,
provider role
not
possible,
acquire skills
manufacturing,
and be able to go
mining,
out into
industrial
the
labor,
world to be able to
declined
work
or
and
have
provide
become
for
less
herself
stable.
and
And
just
even when
wait
men
on a
stayed
man and just
employed,
be
the work
subservient to
often
that
paid
man?
less,
Is that
carried
something
less
that you truly
prestige,
want for your
or
daughter?
offered less security.
I can
Meanwhile,
pretty
women
much
gained more
guarantee that
independence,
most of
more
these men would
education,
say,
more economic
no,
power. More women
absolutely
delayed
not.
marriage and having
The
babies,
vast
and were
majority of
now
us
earning their
don't
own money, and
understand
were no longer dependent
that
on a male breadwinner to survive. And that
women
progress is
have to go,
real,
they have
necessary,
to
and long overdue.
go into
But for
life,
some
and
men,
try to
it
make something
disrupted
of
this
themselves.
role
They
that
have
they were
to,
told was
go out and
guaranteed.
try
If your
to
whole
do their own
identity was
thing. They
built
have to
around
try
being
to
needed, and suddenly you're no longer essential in the same
be able
way, that
to
can feel like a loss of identity and not just a change in
secure means to be
circumstances.
able to take care of themselves,
Sociologists
to feed
sometimes
themselves,
describe
to
this
clothe
reaction
themselves,
as aggrieved
to put shelter
entitlement.
over their
The feeling that the
heads,
role
right?
you were
And
promised,
so, they,
respect,
of
authority,
course,
and
anyone who
purpose,
cares about
is
their
being
own
taken from you, even though
are
you
not
follow
going
the
to want to
rules. This is
see
where Trump's messaging
their own
lands. When
child,
Trump talks about traditional
have a
values,
set of
about
beliefs
restoring
that would
respect, strength, and order, about men being
handicap
men
their own
again, and
child,
getting the country back to how it
that will keep
was,
their
he's
child from
speaking
being what
directly to that anxiety. He
they
isn't
supposed to
offering
be.
job retraining
Now, I'm
programs
not
or new
sure that
economic models.
women would
He's
have that
offering
same
something more
idea
emotional:
for their own
reassurance.
sons. But
Reassurance
I
that
think
you're
I'm going to
right
get
to
into that
expect
in a minute,
respect, that you're
right? I
right
think
to
I'm
see
going to
this
get into
as a
that in
loss,
a
that your
fucking
role
minute.
still
Because
matters,
a lot
that
of us
all of this
fathers,
is
a lot
so
of us men have
unfair. For
absolutely
many of
no
his
fucking
supporters,
problem
this isn't
with the
about
fact that, we
policy
need to
or
see
what
our
he's
girls be
actually going to do.
educated
It's about their
and have a means to be
egos.
able to take care of themselves. But the mothers, on the other hand, it seems that the women are so fucking selfish that they can sit here and listen to other men say that, we tire of having to deal with false allegations and having to deal with two different set of rules, within the family court structure, and that we have to dance around eggshells when we see that we are, with women, in the workplace, right? Women don't care. They can have, they know and fully understand that their sons are going to come into the same bullshit, and they will have to deal with the same bullshit, but they will not care because they only truly see themselves. And that's the whole goddamn fucking problem here, right? It's not just that, but it's the fact that within society, men and women are playing by two entirely different sets of rules. That's the whole fucking problem here. Men and women are playing by two entirely different sets of rules. And the two different sets of rules are rules that mostly benefit women. If women sit there and open their fucking mouth and they say that a man did something to me or he said something that I did not like, 9 times out of 10 that man has to pay a consequence. And they don't care. That's the whole issue here. That's the issue that the vast majority of us men can't stand, that we have to deal with. It is not the fact that women made all these advances and that they can take care of themselves. It is the fact that in order for you to feel comfortable, you feel that men have to handicap ourselves. That's the reason why they have this whole issue about DEI and seeing that women and saw women were getting ahead. It wasn't the fact that women were working. It was the fact that we are beginning to see that we are playing by two entirely different sets of rules. That's the fucking problem. And the thing about it is that she herself knows this. And that's the reason why the entire time that she was saying this shit, she had a fucking smirk on her face. And I forget what country that she lives in. She lives in a completely different country, right? But I can guarantee you this. She can't come into America saying that shit. Because she knows the truth. As a matter of fact, there's been issues across the world, across many first world countries where marriages have been on the decline. Why? Because men in general, they're the ones who have been walking away, unless they will bring in their wives from another country, right? And the women who were living in that particular country did not like it. I believe it was either Greenland or Iceland, where they began seeing that these men were bringing in women from the Philippines, from Thailand. They were bringing in these women, and these local women, they didn't particularly like it. Why were these women penis policing? Because they knew that they would not be able to receive the benefits of being in a relationship in the society that they lived in. So they had a fucking problem. They know and fucking understand the things that they do. They just don't want to acknowledge it. That's the reason why you see women have an issue with passport bros. That's the reason why you see women have issues with men saying that they're going to go out of the country in order to look for somebody. They would not be pressed if women knew in the countries that they lived in were such a great fucking catch. But they know that they're not. They're becoming insufferable. They're becoming insufferable. And that is also the reason why, especially when you see here in the United States, for a lot of us men, we start to see no problem seeing violence actually being enacted against women. Because women have absolutely no problem using third party violence against us via the law. Even black women, right? The most unwanted, the most unloved, the most unprotected. They may have an issue with the police, but dealing with the man, they'll call the police in a hot minute because they know that the police would take their word over his. Men and women are playing by two entirely different sets of rules. And that's the issue that a lot of us have. And I'm going to follow it up. But I've come to the realization. I was watching a live the other day of a woman that I actually supported, that I actually stood up for. Right. Because there was this bigger woman, this obese woman, who was doing cosplays. And y'all know, obese women, at times, they end up getting hate because you see them just, wanting to live their lives and, dress up as their favorite characters that they see in anime. And I stood up for her because the one thing that I believe in is allowing people to do what the fuck that they want. And that you should not allow, and that you should not, just shit all over another person's good time. But when I listened to that live, and I began realizing the disdain, the undue disdain that this woman had towards other men, but then I also saw that the only straight man that was in there was subservient, and the rest of those men were just outright gay and homosexual, and that they were sitting there talking about how straight men need to change, and that they need to start seeing trans women as just regular women, and they need to be treated the same and have like the same privileges as a cis woman, which prompts a whole nother discussion in and of itself about the privileges that women have in our society to begin with. That's when I knew, I'm like, you people are not fucking honest. I'm telling y'all right now, I really am done kissing ass. And I'm not going to be part of a group where I have to bend over to kiss another person's ass where you're not signing my goddamn fucking paycheck and helping me to pay my fucking bills in order to get along with you. I refuse to do it. You can kiss my whole ashy, unwashed ass. It's women like this bitch. It is groups like it is the groups like the ones that this bitch belongs in. It's the reason why Donald Trump got elected. You know that it was a fucking problem when a little over 20% of black men voted for the man. Y'all don't realize how much of an issue that is. Something happened. And I said a long time ago that this sort of thing was going to happen because of the issues that more and more black men were starting to experience with black women. At the time when I sat there and said that on my TikTok channel, and I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to try to download that and play that on this channel in order to show where I said that. And I predicted that that was going to happen. Right, more or less. All the hate that I received because I stood up and told the fucking truth. I really do want you so-called fucking progressives and leftists to know and understand that the reason why Donald Trump got elected was because of you fucking people. And how dishonest you were, and how you pushed the very people that could have supported your causes against you. And I'm going to play so many examples of how you sat there and done that. Especially the men that you have turned against your very own fucking cause. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Fuck being a progressive. Fuck being a so-called leftist. If you can't truly be considerate about everybody and not acknowledge the harm that you yourself have caused, then buddy, I don't want to be a part of it. Fuck all of you. I mean that from the bottom of my goddamn heart. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you. I mean it. If you come to have harm brought to you because of it, that is your fucking problem. That is your fucking problem. I've had it. I've had it. I have truly had it. I'm done. I can't anymore. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm done.